Hey there friends, Byromi here. We are looking at the Viper Pad by Onewheel Armor. Underneath it we have the One Tail Extreme by Craft and Ride for comparison. You can see the One Tail Extreme is a little bit bigger. If I still had the Cush High from a previous video, we could see that the Cush High is larger than the two of these by just a little bit. My previous video 9 months ago, best Onewheel Footpad review, was aimed to be the best review, not necessarily the best Onewheel Footpad, but just a really in-depth look at footpads. I know firsthand how hard it is to see products in the real world, especially Onewheel products. So I like to give you a close look so you can make your own decision what the best footpad will be for you. Not for someone else, but for you. The underside of every footpad will have a little bit of rocker in the back. That's to match the shape of the hardware of the Onewheel itself. The underside of the Viper pad has several hollowed out chambers in order to reduce the overall weight of the pad. This is a close look at one of the 4 inserts compared to the 6 inserts on the Cush High. We'll discuss the difference of number of inserts later in this video. I gave away the Cush High in my previous mentioned video because I liked the One Tail Extreme best for me and I wanted to support the channel and its viewers. So please do subscribe and stay tuned for a link at the end of this video for the most in-depth, best Onewheel footpad video you will ever find. However, this video will be a little bit less in depth and making it shorter. Here's a look down the pad to see the concavity, and the front part of the pad has a large flat area to accommodate pretty much any fender. I particularly like the flight fender, and it fits nicely on the pad. There is a bit of a gap between the back of the pad and the heel of the flight fender. This gap is even larger with the Cush High. If for some reason you want a pad that's going to fit flush and better with the flight fender than any other pad, I would suggest the One Tail Extreme because it is a flawless fit. Back to the inserts, I've installed one bolt and on the opposite end the hole doesn't perfectly line up. You have to push and stretch the pad just a little bit in order to achieve alignment. At the beginning of the video I mentioned that the pad is a little bit small compared to other pads. Here you can see the bumper of the Onewheel sticks out just a little bit more than the pad. It is necessary to stretch the pad to install all 4 screws. At the beginning of the video I mentioned that the Cush High has 2 additional inserts that other pads do not. Even though this flexible pad lacks the 2 additional inserts, the fact that you have to stretch it as so should keep it firmly placed on the Onewheel. After all 4 bolts have been installed, you can see that the Viper pad is pretty much the exact same size of that of the One Tail Extreme compared at the beginning of the video shown here. The foam at the end of the board I have placed there just for protection when placing on end on the ground. Here's a side view comparison of the Viper pad and the One Tail Extreme. I personally like the grip of grip tape over that of foam, but I don't mind having foam in the back. So I got the Touring EVA pad for the Viper to have in comparison, especially to the ProRide pad. I must say in my previous video, the ProRide pad, I made a lot of negative comments about the emblem. The emblem is now painted on and so that has changed and improved. Between the grip of the 2 foams, I prefer ProRide. However, I prefer the kicktail of the Touring pad for the Viper. The kicktail is not as abrupt and is more giving. The feel and texture of the Touring traction is nice, but it does wear down and compress over time. Where I'm pushing with my thumb is a spot that my foot rarely impacts. As with the popular Cush pads by the Float Life, you will not notice any give by the pad itself unless you push firmly with your thumbnail. And here is a closer look at the compression of the Touring traction compared to that of the traction that comes with the One Tail Extreme. Finally, I'd like to point out that any urethane rubber foot pad is going to lift at least a little bit, even the Cush pads with their extra inserts. So if this is a big concern, you can use some double-sided outdoor tape to keep the pad firmly in place on the Onewheel. Please do subscribe, check out my other review videos. If you have been following my other videos, such as my cat videos and reviews of other products, I have created separate channels for those.